Here are the soothing sounds of one world, and if this looks familiar, that's because not too long ago I reviewed the very similar looking Sharper Image Design Travel Soother. But before I got the Sharper Image model, I do remember seeing this One World model quite often in thrift stores, so when another one showed up, I decided to pick it up and see how it compares. It's also a bit of a mystery because unlike the Sharper Image model, I have no idea who manufactured this, when it was sold, where it was sold, and how much it cost. In fact, I can't even assume it ever was sold because it originally came in a completely blank, plain white cardboard box with no writing on it whatsoever. So who knows, it might have been some kind of promotional giveaway. The One World and Soothing Sounds logos both have trademark symbols next to them, but I tried looking those up and I couldn't find anything relevant. Based on its very similar design and appearance, I can only assume that this was essentially a cheaper knockoff of the Sharper Image model, and like it, also dates back to the early to mid 2000s. They both are pocket-sized and have a carrying strap, although the One World model is a little bit thinner and doesn't have any buttons on top. All of the buttons and switches are on the front, as well as the speaker and a non-backlit LCD, which normally shows the current time. On the side is a headphone jack, volume control, and DC power input jack, which does not show the correct voltage or polarity, so that's a mystery. And likewise on the back there is no label whatsoever. All it says is made in China, and it has a battery compartment for 3 AAA cells. And the controls are pretty logical. You get a power button, a switch for setting the time or alarm, buttons for hour, minute, alarm on and off, and snooze, as well as a timer button and a sound button. And the liquid crystal display is unusual because the digits have a curved shape, which looks cool but makes them a little bit more difficult to read. And like I said, it's non-backlit, so you're not going to be able to read it at all in the dark. And as for the alarm, you get choices of a beeper, a gong bell, or a cuckoo clock. And there is the beeper going off. If you let it run, it starts beeping longer and louder. But I put on the snooze, and while I can't even find a proper scan of the instructions for this device, someone did take a mostly legible photograph of it and post it in an eBay listing. So thanks to that, I know the snooze on it is 9 minutes. And there's the bell alarm, which does have an adjustable volume, unlike the beeper alarm. I guess that's supposed to be like a church bell. But it's a very grainy, lo-fi sample of it. And there's the cuckoo clock alarm, which also has an adjustable volume, and it sounded like it started in the middle of the sample. Another very grainy, lo-fi digital sample. Also sounds a bit low-pitched for a cuckoo clock. Usually they're a bit higher pitched than that. But before you go cuckoo, let's hear what those soothing sounds sound like. First one is ocean waves. Very, very grainy sample of it. Next one is babbling brook. Sounds very brittle. I guess that's a nighttime sound sample showing a picture of a moon. And you can hear the crickets chirping. That one's not too bad. and rainstorm. I don't know if we're going to get any thunder in this. I don't think so. And back to the ocean waves. So that's it. You get 1, 2, 3, 4 sound samples instead of the 20 sounds that the Sharper Image model had. Actually, according to the instruction sheet, the official names of the sounds are Ocean Waves, Mountain Brook, Summer Night, and Woodland Rain. And to let you fall asleep while listening to those soothing sounds and then automatically turn it off so you don't run down the batteries, you get a timer settable to 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, or 2 hours. I've tested the headphone jack and can confirm that even though the sound samples in this were obviously not recorded in stereo, when listening through a pair of stereo headphones, it does play them through both earpieces. And unlike the Sharper Image model, it is in phase. However, if you listen through a good pair of headphones and pay attention, you can actually tell exactly how long the sound samples are, because there's an ever so slight gap where they repeat. Now I'll give you a direct hookup so you can listen for yourself. The Ocean Waves sound is the longest, repeating once every 12.6 seconds, and the Mountain Brook sound is the shortest, repeating once every 3.5 seconds. As expected, a look inside isn't very exciting because most of the circuitry is contained on 2 blob chips. The only recognizable semiconductors are this NPN transistor, that's an S9013, that's the audio amplifier for the speaker, and this 8-pin chip, which is a TDA2822M, which is the audio amplifier for the headphone jack. Also, according to instructions, the DC plug is 4.5 volts at 200 milliamps, but it still does not identify the polarity. So maybe you can assume it's center positive, but I wouldn't risk it. Just run it on batteries. So that's about it for the One World Soothing Sounds device circa early to mid 2000s, which is rather mysterious in its origins, but is surprisingly common, at least judging by how many of these I've seen in thrift stores and on eBay. And that crickets chirping sound, nighttime soundscape, is actually rather pleasant, and that's the one thing I probably would use it for, just listening softly in the background through its built-in speaker to help me relax and fall asleep.